Gunstoppable is a fast-paced first-person roguelite shooter developed and published by K Studios. The game revolves around one core mechanic. The faster you move, the more damage you deal. Players use grappling hooks, wall running, sliding, rail grinding, and a dual-wielded weapon to tear through waves of robotic enemies while gradually unlocking permanent upgrades between runs. It launched on August 15, 2026 on PC and Xbox Series X and S. K Studios is an independent game studio led primarily by Solar Kuhare, a former gameplay programmer at Sony Santa Monica Studio, where he worked on God of War Ragnarok before leaving AAA development to pursue indie games full-time. Gunstoppable is the studio's fourth indie project and by far the most ambitious, with development focused on blending high-speed movement with roguelite progression. While K Studios doesn't yet have a long list of well-known commercial releases, the studio has steadily built a following through public demos, community feedback, and transparent development updates. Gunstoppable is a fast-paced first-person roguelite shooter, which means you will be repeating runs over and over again in hopes of becoming stronger. Unfortunately, that's where my biggest issue with the game begins. Progression comes at a painfully slow pace and feels incredibly grindy, so if you plan on making meaningful progress, be prepared to dedicate several hours to it. If you're looking for a deep story, you're gonna have to work for it. There are no cinematic cutscenes or flashy opening movies. Instead, the story is delivered through narration while you're playing. From what I gathered, you're escaping from a prison and completing objectives as you make your way through each area. You begin armed with nothing more than a handgun with unlimited ammunition and a grappling hook that lets you quickly reach higher platforms and keep your momentum going. Each area presents you with a different objective, whether that's surviving a wave of enemies or destroying specific targets. As you complete these objectives, you'll collect upgrades that improve your health, defense, ammo capacity, or give you the option to equip new weapons. Each weapon can be assigned to either left or right mouse button, and if you don't like the choices you were offered, you can re-roll them a limited number of times. One thing I found confusing was the weapon system itself. At one point I was carrying 4 different weapons, but I could only use 2 of them at a time. The game never clearly explains how weapon management works, and the standard mouse wheel didn't swap weapons like I expected it to. Eventually I stopped worrying about it. While every weapon has unlimited ammunition, they also have painfully slow reload speeds. This means you'll constantly be juggling between your equipped weapon, trying to make sure one is always ready to fire. It adds a layer of strategy, but at times it felt more frustrating than rewarding. Combat itself is straightforward. Some enemies go down with a single shot, while others take considerably more punishment. So staying mobile while keeping your aim is on target is the key to survival. The game supports both mouse and keyboard and controller, but personally I thought mouse and keyboard felt much better for this style of gameplay. Bosses are another story, or at least the one boss I encountered. The first boss is a massive mechanical crab that fires projectiles while exposing glowing weak points that change throughout the fight. Visually, it's a cool encounter, but mechanically it left me scratching my head. I noticed that I was landing hits that displayed double-digit damage numbers, yet only a fraction of the damage was actually being removed from the boss's health bar. At first I assumed it was a bug, so I played the fight a second time and experienced the exact same thing. My best guess is that the only shots hitting the glowing weak points deal full damage, but if that's the case, the game doesn't communicate that very well. Instead, it comes across as though the damage calculations simply aren't working correctly. Permanent upgrades are purchased by using points earned during your game runs, but figuring out exactly how you earn those points was surprisingly confusing. Eventually, I realized there are floating purple orbs hidden throughout the levels that reward upgrade currency, but until I figured that out, I completed entire runs without earning anything meaningful. If you miss those collectibles, your entire run can feel like a waste of time. After a handful of runs, I honestly found myself losing interest. I tried changing my approach and experimenting with different strategies, but nothing really clicked. The gameplay is almost entirely focused on non-stop action, while the story feels like an afterthought that's sprinkled in just to say it's there. I genuinely wanted to enjoy Gunstoppable because there's clearly passion behind the project, especially knowing it was developed by one small independent studio. Unfortunately, the confusing progression system, the lack of direction, the sense of advancement, and repetitive gameplay kept me from getting interested. This is one of those games that will absolutely find an audience. Fans of roguelites who enjoy grinding out run after run may have a better experience than I did. But for me, I walked away more frustrated than entertained. In the end, I was honestly bored, and it pains me to say that because I never enjoyed giving a negative review. Sadly, Gunstoppable just wasn't a game that kept me motivating to come back for more and more. It simply wasn't for me.